Okay, record on this computer. Hi everyone. Hopefully you can see us. It's always a bit like technology, you know, never quite know when we're live or not.
Hairy going live.
Yeah, always.
Quite sure whether it's going to work.
Yeah, so say hi if you can see us, because I'm going to keep an eye on questions.
Yeah, if someone can say hi, that'd be great.
Yeah, so we're sure that we're live. I know there's lots of new members in this group, so we thought we'd just introduce ourselves really quickly. I'm Antonina Mamzenko.
And I'm Emma Collins.
And we are two of the four co-founders of Made for Documentary, which is an educational platform and a community hub for documentary family photographers. Yeah. And we also teach one of our big group mentoring courses called Turning Chaos into Art, which is a 5-month intensive experience for a small group of photographers that we run about once a year-ish.
Yeah.
And the next round is going to open up. We just wrapped up round 2, so the next round is going to open up really, really soon. And
we're ready for the next people. So.
Yeah. And the course is kind of centered around critiques, image critiques, assignments and image critiques. So we thought this is going to be a great, apart from, you know, just we love to see everyone's work. Yeah. But it will be a great opportunity for those of you who are considering signing up to see how this actually works. Yeah. So we had lots and lots of submissions of images. There's no way we can go through all of them today because there was loads, but we selected a few which we think are going to be great ones to talk about.
Yeah.
And for all the different reasons. And we'll try and get through all of them today. So yeah.
Yeah, so this should give you a flavour of how critiques work. It's a really good way to develop in the documentary field because just by its very nature, documentary, if you're shadowing somebody or like, you know, you can't really do groups, multi-people shadowing one person because you disturb what's going on and it changes.
Stops being documentary, yeah.
Being documentary, so it's a really good way to learn, to get feedback from experienced mentors. So I'm going to share my screen now because I've got all of the images on here.
Oh, and also as we kind of critique the images, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the chat. Mm-hmm. And I'll sort of try and keep half an eye on that. If I spot anything, I'm going to read it out and can answer the question. And this is also being recorded. So if you can't, like, if you're watching this on replay, welcome. Hope you find it useful. And it will be saved into our Zoomcast library on our website.
And feel free, if we're critiquing your image, one of the tricky things when you're critiquing and the person that you're working with or who's taken the photo isn't there, is you're kind of guessing the scenario. And so sometimes you're like, oh, you should move to the left or the right. And you think, and it's really frustrating if you've taken the photo and it's like, oh, I couldn't.
There was no space.
So yeah. Please, if you're watching, you feel free to kind of comment and in the Facebook group and guide us along as well.
Yeah. Right. So which one do you want to begin?
I actually really like this couple down here.
Okay, let's start with this one. Yeah, I love this one too.
Gorgeous. Yeah, it's really lovely.
So yeah, lots of things that are really working well with this picture. I think there's so many things, and I immediately thought, what a gorgeous, gorgeous portrait of this boy.
I mean, it's immediately gorgeous because his face is.
Or her. Let's not assume gender.
Yeah, that's true. His face is absolutely gorgeous. It's got pure delight from. I'm assuming it's his mum from the hands. You know, they look like an adult's hands. And I mean, hands are so emotive, aren't they?
Yeah.
They almost have as much emotion and personality in them as a face. And like, you know, the tender way that she's touching his head, their head, their head, and the glee and love that he's got for the person that's doing that. And, you know, her little hands, their little hands. It's just, you know, there's lots of story just going on in there in the middle of the image with their touching and expression. But there's other gorgeous things like, you know, the nail varnish that's slightly worn, which is lovely.
Which also matches the colour of the towel.
You've got this beautiful colour combination actually of the sort of warm orangey colours and the cool blues, and that those complementary colours always look really gorgeous together. So it's really got a really nice feeling. The colours just work beautifully together.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, it's just, isn't it great that the nail varnish matches?
Yeah, because that's real, but also like that's worn, it's real. That's, you know, that's how it is.
You know, a mum's fingers and fingernails, they might try to have beautiful fingernails, but it doesn't last very long. So it's just a little extra little bit of story there. I just think it's really beautiful.
Yeah, and I also love, if you look at the metadata on the side, it was shot with a 28mm lens, which means the photographer got really close.
And I think
really close.
That's why you feel their emotion, you know, as that, because you have to get, if you're using a wider angle lens to have this much of the body filling the frame, you've got to have gone close. And so you immediately, as a viewer, you feel closer because it translates into how you're looking at the image. So it's really, really lovely.
Yeah, and that's why we often talk about how, as documentary photographers, we do shoot with a sort of wider angle length, so 28, 24, 35, and really like getting into the action, because that makes us feel like, as a viewer, we're part of that action. And just this image is such a great example of that.
And there's other lovely things, you know, the towels create a lovely frame around their head, and the hand of I'm assuming it's the mum, is coming in on this lovely diagonal, and it's leading your eye up because she's just about to touch him. So you've got that tension where it's not a relaxed, flaccid hand, it's reaching out and it's going to touch him. And you know, and it's on that lovely angle, so your eye's drawn. It's just another indicator that draws your eye to her. Keep saying his. Sorry. Face. It's beautiful.
So the only thing I would change is the crop, because we can see that. Yeah.
Like this is exactly, it's the only thing that's bothering me, and I don't know whether you can slightly tilt it to get rid of it.
So you don't want to really cut off anything else. And I know that, you know, photographing at such a wide angle, the photographer was right in there, so it was not very easy to avoid that.
If you slightly turn it, it means you're going to have to, let's see, why did that happen? It means you can take less off.
And just to be clear, we're big proponents of getting things right in camera.
So that little distracting, it's a knee or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was the only thing that was distracting me and drawing my attention away from this gorgeous face.
Yeah.
Just a tiny trim to get rid of.
Because your eye keeps going to that element, because it's quite light as well. The eye keeps going there.
It's quite, because it's on the edge of the frame and in the corner as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite a dominant part of the picture. And actually, if you take that out, you can actually reduce some of the light part at the top as well, which I think, bring it over that way, so the arm's still coming from the corner, and you lose this light patch, the bit of the light patch at the top there, which isn't really doing anything up there. So that helps too.
Well, I forgot completely to look at the time, so I think we need to move to the next picture if you have any chance of getting through all of them, because we can talk forever. Do you want to mark it? Yeah. Okay. What shall we talk about now? Let's talk about one above it, maybe.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is an interesting, so playgrounds, I find, are really fun places to photograph interactions between, especially younger kids and their parents, in different manifestations of that. And I think it's really funny how the little boy is up there on that climbing frame, and the dad is kind of like just standing under looking.
So I feel like it's not quite working for me. I really like the dad's expression. You can feel his pride and love for his little child, which is really nice. But I'm not getting much from what's going on above. I feel like there's no moment. What the child is doing isn't interesting, so it doesn't match his face, or you need to wait for them getting an angle where you could see both their faces and they're looking at each other somehow. I don't know. I don't feel like it's
I think what's interesting about the child here is that the child is so high up, I assume, but we can't tell quite high up it is because of the framing.
Yeah, I was looking over here. You've got, I don't know, the Pentax K7. Is that a crop frame camera? Because it's on an 18mm lens.
But it doesn't feel 18, so it must be a crop.
Yeah, so which would be more
28, something, 30.
I feel like to accentuate the height, I think it would have worked going vertical actually. So you and getting down and looking up.
Yeah, I was gonna say getting down, putting that sort of face at the bottom of the frame, and then looking up at the child with the dad.
With the dad in as well, and that would also accentuate the height of the child because they're above the dad, and the dad's looking up, and you're getting that sort of extension and slight distortion when you look at it.
Because we can't, like, it's obviously high because it's higher than an adult, and it's quite a small child, so maybe 3 years old. So maybe getting like I mean, the photography is probably under the structure from what I'm seeing.
Because it looks like you're under these ropes here.
So maybe coming even closer and like getting up, and maybe just not even including the child's head and just the hands.
Yeah, that would be nice.
And the feet somehow, kind of like just make it more about dad.
You've also got some interesting things that you could use for composition here with the ropes and things. You could, so looking through it and getting the perspective of what the dad's getting and looking up through. So you're sort of mimicking how he's looking up and having those as a sort of barrier that you're looking through, and you can use them to frame the child. The other thing, I think as well, like there's not a sort of side or middle composition going on here. You've got
slightly off center,
but then you've got this pillar that's slightly on this side. And so I think one of the things you get from playground equipment is you do get quite interesting shapes and graphical shapes that you can use cleverly within your frame to make it interesting, as compositional tools to lead your eye. And at the moment, I'm finding them more distracting than helping. So because this pillar and him both being sort of either side of the center, or like maybe you could position yourself so that he's hiding the post, or the fact that you're underneath the ropes, use them rather than like here it's creating a line that's cutting through the little child, whereas if you'd gone under, it would have accentuated the fact that they're high and they're above. And you could have used it, like I said before, to make a frame or something.
Yeah, and also it would sort of shooting up playgrounds again are great for interactions, but they're tricky because there's so much stuff in the background, and it's not easy to get rid of it. But one way to get rid of it is actually to shoot up. So you crouch down and you shoot up, and that way you clean up your background.
I mean, you're lucky here because there's not really, it doesn't look like there's many other people in the playground, but you've still got this complicated background with lots of other play equipment and stuff, and it's an easy way to clean up an image is tilting up, where you end up having sky and trees, and then you've got nice clean spaces to put your figures so you can see them. Okay, I think
the next one. 4 minutes is up. I'm on it. You pick.
I like this one. So nice environmental portrait.
It's a really interesting portrait, and that's what we call environmental portrait. And if you're not familiar, Emma, do you want to? It's a complicated question. What is an environmental portrait? If anyone knows, Emma knows.
An environmental portrait. Well, it's just a really interesting way of taking a portrait. It tells you much more about the person rather than just having a pretty background that's blurred out, where you're really focusing on the background disappearing. It's like the opposite. You're trying to incorporate the background to tell you more about who the person is. And there's nothing wrong with either. This is just a typical technique that you use in documentary photography, because it's all about storytelling, details, and recording information. So environmental portraits are a really good fit because they are giving you a lot more detail than just the expression of the person. So, and I mean, in this particular situation, she's got a great expression.
Even like the expression itself,
Yeah,
it's so,
yeah.
so much character in there.
Yeah.
And even the, not just the expression, but also the whole position of the body,
Yeah,
and
totally.
how she's put her foot on this toy.
And the tension in this foot here, you know, the little toes are sort of scrunched up. I feel like she's really holding on because she's having a good old dig with her finger, and like the whole body's digging up her nose with her. But she's completely camera unaware as well, which is really nice. You know, she's looking at something over here. I think the only thing that's missing here, and it could just be that I can't tell because of the light. It looks like it could be artificial light.
Possibly.
There's no obvious catch lights in her eyes, but which would have been nice.
Could be an evening. It's January after 5 p.m. Just looking at metadata, so that's definitely not it.
Because the color of it looks a bit blue, like it's either had the temperature change to make it less yellow, or it's just a cold type of artificial light. So but one thing I would have done in this situation, I absolutely love, you know, it looks like maybe they've been using these balloons for counting or a birthday or something, you know, there's all sorts of stuff everywhere that are lovely details, but she, at the moment, she's
merging with some toys.
Merging with the toys. When just teeny movement this way, her head would be in this lovely clean space.
Yeah, from the photographer. Yeah. So the photographer needed to move that way.
Very slightly to the left, slightly angle themselves, and you'd still have all of these details, and her head would be here instead of jarring with the toys. And you note that because it's shot at an aperture 2 on, is this a Fuji?
Possibly.
23mm lens. That could be
a crop. I don't know. Anyone knows Fuji? Just want to tell us in the chat.
Because an aperture 2 is low, but he's quite far from the subject, so you're getting a lot of detail in the background, which is lovely in documentary photography, because it, you know, sometimes you need to use a shallower depth of field just to try and create some separation, but it's good to include details, and here you've got lots of reasonably in focus details, but because her head's colliding with them, it's making it less easy read when and like that sort of thing. There's sometimes you can't avoid it, but in this particular shot I feel like there's no excuse because there's this gap literally next to her.
Yeah, and also I feel like it could have been, I don't think Mark is here, but like it looks like maybe she was asked to sit on that chair potentially. So in that, if it's kind of slightly set up, which is fine for a portrait, then you literally have no excuse. You have to look at your background and your edges and see how to position yourself so it's the cleanest spot.
I actually think it would have worked going slightly over to that side as well, because there's a bit of dead space over here. And you might have incorporated a few more details and lost a bit of that edge if you'd have moved over. But you know, the edges are really, you know, they're really well thought out. You've got this sort of diagonal across here.
The only thing that's bothering me is the thing on the radiator there. It's like, the little thingy.
The planes are really nice.
Planes are nice.
I wonder whether it could have, because there's a green balloon that's slightly bothering me there.
Yeah.
If you kind of came in very slightly, you don't want to lose those. Yeah. But unfortunately, you're taking off from that side, and really I want to lose from the other side where it's the door. So
Robin is saying in the chat, the X100 series a crop sensor fixed focal length. So 23 equals 35.
35, because it must be a big room, because you feel like quite
and F2 is wide open, so that's max.
It's really interesting. But obviously the depth of it, if you're close to something, then the aperture has much more of an impact, and they're quite far away from girl that's in the portrait. I would trim that off. That's just slightly
that can you, I hope everyone can see how just like a little change, immediately your eye is no longer going to that edge anymore.
And so you've just like taken off this little knobble which is right on the edge, and this green balloon which is neither in nor out. Whereas that pink one, you know, a big chunk of that balloon is still in the picture, so it feels like it's part of it.
And on editing, I want to say something. So we often talk about in the editing that you, as a documentary family photographer, you don't need to pretend that it wasn't yellow light. Like if it's yellow light, it's yellow light. Obviously, you will adjust levels a little bit so it's not crazy yellow, but there's generally no need to pretend it was not what it was.
Yeah.
Which I think it must have been yellow light because that's the majority of bombs.
I feel like it's been made very white. Do you?
I think it was picked up on the door. I used to do that as well. Pick the white on the door, and then the whole picture changes.
Yeah, I think so. But
yeah,
it's January, like Antonina.
It's January evening.
January at
in Britain.
The lights are in Britain because we know who sent it in.
Yeah.
You would have the lights on, and it would have a warmer color to it, and that's
warmth. Also, it creates coziness, doesn't it?
There's no point in trying to pretend it's daylight because it doesn't look like daylight.
Yeah.
So had that warmth of the artificial light is slightly missing, slightly white.
Because it will fit the picture as well, because it's clearly like her playroom or her bedroom, and it would just fit. I think it will make that feel even cozier. I think we have to go to the next one now. Yeah.
We'll just tag that so we've seen it. I've got one. I like this one here. Let's talk about this.
Okay.
One. This so there's a few things I like about this because there's definitely like a moment going on here. There's lots of people, and actually, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people in the frame, and actually the separation is pretty good between them. Okay, there's these two, and we always say, you know, the more people there are in the frame, the more difficult it is to have clear, distinct places for each person. But here, I mean, apart from these two, I feel like it's you've got quite clear sort of boundaries between people. I love this person who's
I love that one.
I love that little corner there, and
it's like a little detail, just a little like
really
cherry on top.
It really is, and it fills this, because otherwise, if that person wasn't there, there'd be loads of dead space on this side. But actually, it's, you know, and the tattoo and the gun, it's great because obviously it's part of this game, and you've got this lovely triangle between these 3 people with the little one and this guy shooting that guy, and then the lady looking over the shoulder with, and I know she's kind of merging into him, but there's just enough of her that you're seeing her trying to capture what's going on the phone. And so yeah, no, I really like it, and I actually quite like the tilt on here. Normally, like, it's like, make sure your horizons are straight, but here it feels dynamic because
the middle of the action, right?
Yeah,
and so it fits that's the sort of chaotic nature of the gun. Was it like a water gun fight?
Yeah.
It really, then you can sort of exaggerate it because it's messy and it's unpredictable. You exaggerate it with the tilt of the camera,
and you almost feel like you're in the fight with them, like you're trying to avoid getting shot.
Well, it's an 18 mil on a Pentax K3, but again, I assume it's a prop.
Yeah, but again, you know, I really like it because they're quite in the action, and they've also, I think, done the right thing because it looks like they've focused on this guy who's further in the frame. So which gives you much more depth of field. So more of the people are in reasonable focus, and Aperture 5 is kind of giving you that as well. But yeah, it's an interesting capture. I like it.
Yeah. Lots of little details there as well with the.
I feel like I'm there and I'm part of the scene, which I really like.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, have you got one that you'd like to talk about?
Let's talk about the.
Quick.
No. First one. Let's go to the very first one. Okay.
This one stands out to me as amongst all of them because it's really close to, a bit like the first one we talked about. There's not so many where they're really close in, and it's lovely and bright and colourful, isn't it?
Well, is it cropped, Fanny? Is it not a traditional crop?
That doesn't look like a. Since I've got a constrained crop on here. Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was. Not that it matters. You can crop however you like. If you want to make it square, make it square. It's fine. So what is happening here in the picture is that the focus is on this boy and his expression and him pouring milk. So what children do, and some keep doing it older than others is they stick their tongues out when they're doing something that requires concentration. Like
Classic child
pouring milk, yeah.
concentration face.
Which is a wonderful thing that the photographer noticed that and wanted to capture it. What's missing, I think, here is more of a context. And again, I also want to say it's, again, 17mm lens, which I don't know what camera it is. Could be a crop again, but it still means the photographer is right there.
Yeah, like in the first photograph, you're right there, so you feel like you're pouring the milk, you're at breakfast. I like that we talked about looking upwards in the other photograph. I like the fact that the photographer has tilted upwards, got down low, and shot up to get, because when I would have, if you were shooting straight on, you'd see the head down pouring, and you'd miss that expression. Whereas going down low, even though he's bent over to pour, you're seeing that lovely expression of concentration. And that, I mean, there's enough milk here to know what's happening, that he's pouring milk. But yeah, you're right. There could have been.
I want to see more. I want to see like how big the jug is, because it looks like a big jug of milk.
A big one, but also, it's cropped. I mean, it's quite shallow, so it's less distracting. But the hand is cropped out. It would have been nice to have had more of the hand. I don't know what. I wonder why it's been cropped into this shape. Whether it was to get his face central, or whether there was too much space on the right hand side. Because if there's some, if it's been trimmed from the left, I wish there was some more there. But again, they've paid attention to edges, because he's got quite a distinctive, well, something, he's got writing on his shirt on the pocket, and it's carefully composed so that writing is in the frame rather than cutting through it, because that would have been distracting and disappointing. So there's lots of really lovely things about this, but I just wish there was more to the left. Do you? Yeah, definitely. Or even, you kind of contradicts what we just said, because we really love the expression and the tongue sticking out, but I almost want to see more of the kitchen. Like I want to, if this child then looks at the pictures when he's like 30, 40, 50, I think it's nice to see, what kitchen was he in when he was this age. But that could be a different.
It could be a different picture. I think
looking up, you're kind of, you're not going to get the kitchen anyway, are you? Because you're looking up and get his expression.
That's true.
I do think that this, like you said, the size of the milk bottle adds to the idea of concentrating, but also to maybe have got what he's pouring into.
Yeah, is it like a breakfast cereal or something?
Cereal, yeah, just something a little bit more. And I don't know if that has been taken out with the crop, but I would have liked to have seen that in, either it's there and it's been taken out, or in camera they could have been more done.
Yeah.
Other little things, they're like, all the stripe, his arm being up on the angle, and all of the stripes, and this line of the cupboard all points you to this expression here.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first thing you see. Like, you see that expression on the face, which is clearly what the whole point of the picture is. It's just adding slightly more detail.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
Right. Let's have a look. Let's talk about this one, because this one is another one where it's a bit like an environmental portrait.
Yeah.
Because this has got loads of gorgeous detail in the room, a little bit like that one we just saw. It's clearly it's a child who's doing a lot of competitions. You can see the books that they're reading, and that, again, really, there's been thought about what's included in the frame, because these pictures are fully in the frame, and it would have been so frustrating if that had been, caught on the edge.
Yeah, I wonder actually if it's the same photographer, because it's very similar crop. I just realized.
Yeah, I think it might be the same camera.
Or maybe it's the camera that crops it then.
Maybe it is, yeah. But I love this other person here. And the colours, all bright, wonderful.
Reds and blues and greens.
And they're in this great clean space that we were talking about in the last shot, where that you can really see the figure. But for me, they're not really, the thing that lets it down is that the person, it feels like it should be a portrait, but it's not. And it's not an active shot either. It's about them and their athletics medal or something.
But we can't see them.
Yeah,
and that's the problem.
Yeah, I feel like it could be a great opportunity for something a bit more of a portrait.
So how would, if you were doing this portrait, how would you would have done it, Emma?
So it's
maybe so again, when you're taking a portrait, even though it's documentary, you can't actually direct people, right? Or this child looks a bit older, so it must be about 10, I don't know, something like that. You can actually collaborate with them.
I think that you probably need to incorporate a little bit more space, because in this picture, as it is here, they'd be turning around and standing next to something which would be a little bit wooden.
Yeah. So maybe they need to sit on something and talk to them, sort of kind of get them talking about their achievements, and then maybe that would.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially if it's a client, not the parent. But there's presumably this is a bedroom, so there's going to be a bed. There might be a bean bag or something, and I feel like this wall is an important wall because it's got all of these medals, and that's a really important part of the person. So even if you've not got a great angle, if they're sitting on the bed of this wall, or move something so that they can be in this position, because that's important. This feels like it's even this looks like it's a photograph of a team.
Yeah, it must be the bedroom, because I'm thinking that if it's the child's bedroom, then, as you said, sitting on the bed with that in the background would feel like you're in their world then, almost.
And because of the way it's taken, it's a very flat scene. There's only the depth that you're shooting. He's about the same distance from the wall as the chest of drawers, and that's only maybe 50 centimeters deep, so everything's really in sharp focus. But you could bring him further away from the wall and focus on him, which will slightly soften the background but keep all the detail, and that would then make him stand out, or somehow position him maybe with light on his face, because there's clearly a window on this side, so you could take it from that angle. I think incorporate more space will give you more flexibility of where to position the person.
Yeah.
But it's a really lovely, I love the detail in the room.
And also the books, I'm liking seeing the books that they have on the bookshelf.
It's got full of, the details are full of personality. They tell you a lot about that person, which is why I feel like it needs to be more of a portrait.
Yeah.
He's not actually doing anything here.
He's trying to stick something to the wall, maybe. But it's not like active thing.
Not an active, particularly interesting moment. So make it a portrait.
Yeah.
And presumably this, unless if it's a child of yours, you can go back and try and take something like this again if it's not a client. Okay.
Let's look at this one. Okay.
This is really cute.
This is funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Well, I don't think it's hilarious. I think it's maybe it is. It's quiet funny.
Yeah, it's quite funny and cute at the same time. And I love the contrast that it's the little boy that's just hanging there.
Yeah. It's really nice observations. Really well observed that there was two. They look like girls, kind of going crazy on the swings, and the boy in the middle.
Good use of shutter speed as well, slow shutter speed. And you're getting the feeling from this that he's the little brother, because they're swinging. They're in a different type of swing. He can't reach the floor to swing himself. But it's they're, the movement, the slow shutter speed has caught their motion and movement.
Exaggerated that sort of situation. Yeah.
So exaggerated the difference between them and the contrast. But everything what I particularly like about this, he's got his whole body tucked into it. All his arms are tucked down into it as well.
So I think he's probably even too small to have his hands out.
Yeah. Looks like a straitjacket.
It does. Like, why am I here? This is really funny. And as documentary photographers, like that's one of the things that we kind of use to send out from other types of photography, is that we can catch those humorous moments, and kind of show personalities of the children just as they are, even if they're not smiling or going happily on the swing.
I think the story has been exaggerated, brilliant here with the use of the shutter speed. Because if the well, I suppose you could have caught them in up in the air.
Yeah.
So it would still, but I don't know. I feel like it accentuates it. It makes you look at him more because
he's the one that's still.
You can't see their faces. Yeah. It exaggerates his stillness, because if they had been caught in action, they would be. It would be a moment in time, whereas here you've got that swinging.
And it's almost like it's a portrait of him. It's like another take on a portrait, essentially. Yeah.
And I really, really enjoyed the central composition here as well. The only thing I would have done, I think, that if the photographer had got down a little bit lower and shot up, because it really annoys me that his foot is just dangling beneath the fence, and there's so much space above his head. If you got really tiny bit lower, that foot his whole body would have been in the white, which would have just been really great then.
Yeah, made it like that a little bit better, like completely perfect, basically.
Yeah.
But you know what? Because his foot is kind of quite pale against the that it doesn't get lost, at least. So that's
if he'd had a dark sock on, it would have been even more annoying, because it would have joined him into the ground. But it would have it's just like little things like that.
Yeah.
Can't fix, you've got to do it in camera. You've got to be paying attention to all these details when you're taking pictures.
And I'm kind of assuming, again, unless there were screams to push him, that you had a bit of time to do that. So take the.
Going to be going backwards and forwards.
Yeah, we kind of always say grab a picture and then adjust. Like grab a picture just in case that's the only opportunity, and then if you have more time, then try it slightly something, adjust, like look at the edges, look at the little details, and adjust.
But I really love this photograph.
Do you think highlights are a bit too white?
Yeah, I think it could come down a bit,
especially on the right. I feel like maybe on the right girl.
Yeah, it would bring, you'd see the
more
girl
definition.
More definition. I mean, it's not blown out, because
no.
See, but I think if it was just slightly darker, the exposure was slightly down, you'd get a bit more of that girl, and maybe these sort of texture on the light on the fence is quite nice.
Okay.
Really cool though. I like that. Right.
Well, let's go next to it.
Yeah,
it was on the bus. Yeah.
Well, it's actually
it's slightly pixelated. It's too small, I think. Oh no.
Let me see where we can. Yeah, it's a really pixely image. Can we do it at that size?
Just about.
I really enjoy the observation of and how it's framed, so you can see first student and this little figure here who is obviously really little and not actually going to school, I'm assuming. So I like that slight play with the words that you can see.
Yeah, and also the leading lines of the bus and the walk, pavement, whatever, going. Yeah,
really nice feel of the time of year and the weather. It's a really pleasant, pleasing image. The only thing I'd like always.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
Really annoying me. This tiny little edge, which is such a minor thing to correct. Just take that out there, and it cleans up the edges. But
it's funny how this such an insignificant little thing can really be distracting.
It's such a huge difference.
Yeah.
All I could see, my eye was just looking at this little bit of.
Yeah, like what is it? What is it? What's it?
What's there?
And also like how the child in a light coat is kind of contrasted against the black umbrella. Yeah.
And actually, do you know, it would have been less successful if the umbrella hadn't been there, because the coat is a really similar colour.
Exactly.
To the pavement.
Yeah.
So that really helps frame the child.
Yeah.
So as well as the leading lines, this umbrella acts as a frame, and it's a storytelling element as well, because That's how children hold umbrellas. Isn't it? They
Yeah, that's
find
true.
it really difficult to hold umbrellas.
That is so true.
They were upset. My kids were obsessed with having umbrellas, but they never could hold. They couldn't hold them; they were too heavy for them. And it just feels like really reminiscent to me of when my children were little and wanted to carry an umbrella, but it was just like an appendage. Yeah. And then it's in the wrong position, so if there's a gust of wind, it catches them and
Oh my god.
blows it inside out. But yeah, no, it's a really sweet image. I really like it.
Yeah.
I like the neutral color palette. It goes with the time of year.
Yeah.
Okay, really nice. Another one.
Well, let's just go one by one. Yeah.
Oh, now we've got the zooms wrong because.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
There we go. I love this. I love this little girl and what she's doing.
I love the rings on her fingers.
I know. And the hands. And again, the photographer it's 16mm lens and it's Canon R6. So it's full frame.
Full frame.
So they're right up there. Is that full frame R6? Maybe it's not. I don't know. I don't want to say because I don't know.
Sure, it's the full frame.
Okay, yeah, but either way, it's still right up there, and it actually exaggerates the size of the hands. I think. Yeah. Because of that distortion.
It does, and her in her like the concentration on her face, and looks like she's got a smudge of makeup up here. Yeah. She's got glitter. The lighting is great. It feels to me like it's television light.
It must be, yeah.
And there's the light. It's late and it's February in this picture. 9:30 February. I have no idea whether that's in the UK, by the way, but it might be somewhere where that doesn't make sense. But
I think it's still dark at 9:30.
And so you've got, and here I feel like the colour hasn't been altered too much. It feels like that sort of colourful
blue TV light, isn't it?
Light that you get from the television that changes depending on what's on the screen as well, doesn't it? But it's picking up the shine of the
rings.
The rings, but the detail I really like is the little bits of glitter that you can see. Like there's a little bit, and the bright pink cheeks. She's taking it very seriously.
Love it.
I love that we're right in there with her, experiencing it.
And she's completely oblivious to the camera, which is wonderful.
I feel like the photographer should have been slightly to the left so that this person was more away from them. So like turned to the left and shooting. Let me get my pen, hold on. Pen on her.
I meant her pen.
So shooting slightly more from this angle because this person's so close. And if you'd have just slightly turned to the side a little bit, I think you'd have grown the gap between them. And then I would have liked the aperture to be a little bit higher because I quite like the story of the parents chilling out. I'm assuming they're both parents or older brothers and sisters, chilling out and watching telly and completely ignoring the little girl. But it's slightly lost there because they're very although
you kind of because the first thing you see is the little girl and what she's doing, and only then you see, if you like look carefully, them watching TV. And I think it could have been a bit more obvious.
So I mean, I think if you're going to just do the girl getting even closer and make her fill the frame, but if you're going to be this distance where you've got some of the room, then you need to pay attention to slightly like getting a bit more separation of the figures and having a higher aperture so that you've got a bit more story, and maybe come back a little bit as well so you see a little bit more of the people. Like, I don't know, you can tell he's lying down.
Yeah, because it's like if it's a mirrorless Canon, so you could potentially go even higher on the ISO a little bit and it should still be fine. Yeah. And again, like grain is fine. If it's dark, it's dark.
It's a still moment as well. So you could certainly come down to 100. You could go up your ISO a little bit more. And then you've got a bit of flexibility to push your aperture up a bit because and also actually stepping back a bit would automatically give you more depth of field as well, because you're quite close to the little girl. You're making the angle of view so much more obtuse that the back falls off more into sort of blur and bokeh. Whereas if you step back a little bit from the person, you're extending that field of view a bit more. So everything will come into a little bit more focus.
Yeah.
It's a really lovely moment. And because it's a still moment, I think you can afford to bring a shutter down a little bit.
Yeah.
And they're so fast, these cameras as well. So, and they've got so much sort of stabilization. It gives you a lot of control.
Exactly.
She's really cute, the little girl. I need to change back.
Bardo is saying, am I drawing things? Art.
Yeah. The door. Oh. Have you got another?
I'll just go one by one, otherwise we'll just,
Okay.
Okay, so so the first thing I see when I look at this image is the word spaceship, which actually attracted me to this. And obviously any box, whatever car, children play with it, it's fine. But I
don't think what's happening,
it doesn't match,
is matching the word spaceship, because that would have been good. I don't know whether it's some dressing up or something that they're doing, but at the moment it's just a hand reaching up and some feet.
So one thing we have to remember, I think we are really spoiled as English speakers, that if it was in a different language, we wouldn't have known it's a spaceship, and that like there wouldn't be any story to it.
And it's so beautifully framed to include that word, that it needs to have something about spaceship. And I think a complete side note here, the toning is very bright. It needs to be,
the highlights need to go down a bit.
Right, yeah.
It's clearly by the window, so it's shining in that reflection of the
panel right across the middle, and in the hand you could deepen the highlights there.
So I think what are they interesting? I mean, the hand is interesting. There's tension in it, but it's not really doing anything particularly.
No, yeah.
And we can't see the eye. So I think if the eye, can we see the eye there? It's not obvious.
Probably there, but it's really
it's dark. You can't see it.
And if you were doing that, you'd want to be in like there to accentuate the eye, wouldn't you? But again, I'm not sure.
Because it's in a shadow, it wouldn't be. You'd have to wait potentially. So we talk a lot about fishing, as in waiting. So if there's a scene which is likely is still seen, and the child is likely going to be in that spaceship for a while, as they do, you have time to wait. And if that's what you want to capture, the eye in the slit between the flaps of the box, then wait until the child moves so much that we can actually see the eye illuminated.
I mean, you've got to decide when you're looking at a scene, what is it that interests you? And I feel like the person is interested by the fact that there's the word spaceship.
Yeah.
Everything else has to kind of like
support
it, but it's not doing that at all. And you know, obviously it would help enormously if he was dressed up in some space outfit, and he's not. So I don't know whether Spaceship was a game that had been played, and now
so maybe that was the picture about the child in the box, rather than
so therefore if there's nothing you can do really to accentuate the idea of spaceship, you look for something different, because there's quite an older child actually playing in the box, so maybe there's something you can do with that story, or like Antonina said, there could be something interesting here, and more.
Or just go down and take a portrait of the child in the box, because I think the child actually is dressed up in it's colorful T-shirt there, and if you were
not in space clothes,
they're not in space clothes, and it might be actually quite an interesting portrait to make of them sitting inside, and the light I assume would fall on their face if that flap was open, because it's by the window.
Because it looks.
And then the box will kind of create this sort of darker frame around them.
I mean, are they in smart clothes? I mean,
that's what I think. That's a colorful.
Would it be like? Is there something going on around it that would be a real sort of juxtaposition to him playing in the box? Well,
I think even the fact that they are in smart clothes sitting in the box would be an interesting juxtaposition.
But is there adults around drinking wine, party or something? You know, I think that they've been interested by the word spaceship, but there's nothing to back that up that works. So move on and find another way of looking at it.
Yeah.
As well, you know, if I'll just make another note on this, if the child was in doing something that helped support the fact that the box is being played with as a spaceship. You're looking down and you've focused on the word spaceship, but the legs have really fallen off into blur because it's at a 2.8 aperture. Now the hand is in focus and the eyes are, but you know, if there was something going on down here, like they put some, I don't know,
astronaut, like the uniform thingy,
something, yeah, having it as a higher aperture would have helped, I think, here as well.
Yeah, and there's definitely enough light for pushing the aperture up.
Quite overexposed.
Well, let's go to this first one we haven't talked about before we forget about it. I mean, the last one.
This one? Oh,
the last one. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a lovely photo. I think.
Yeah, I love the toning here and the colors and the light. It's like it's the editing. I feel is perfect.
I really feel like the mum is concentrating on her makeup and hardly knows that her daughter's there quietly. It's like they quietly snuck in to watch her mum put her makeup on.
Yeah,
I used to do that sort of thing, you know, when my mum was putting curlers in her hair, or you know, and I just love the look that she's giving her mum. It's like, you know, it's like she wants to be like that when she's grown up, and the way she's curling her feet over and holding her hands is really lovely. And you've got all of them.
Yeah, the beautiful light as well.
And the hands are both in, her feet and hands.
Yep. There's great subject separation.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things that's bothering me though. I think one, it's not quite straight.
It's slightly tilting that way, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Slightly.
Which means there's like a little, also that gap on the left-hand side. If we tilt it, we might get rid of that.
This bit here.
Yeah.
That's a bit bright. I don't want to lose, too much of her eyes and stuff. I would probably take, I don't know, if you're tilting it, is the other thing that's slightly bothering me is that you don't see all of her makeup case, and we're actually losing it a bit more by tilting.
No, I don't want to lose more, but it's not.
Okay, that's better. That's already straighter.
Yeah, it's much straighter. Again, one other thing that's bothering me is that mom is so out of focus, and it's a main part of the story.
It's interesting. I mean, it's on an aperture 4, and the right thing has happened. It's focused on the person's background, which has extended the depth of field. So you do get, I mean, and they're lucky the light is from the windows on the mum's face, which lights it up. But yeah, I think it would have been even better with a high aperture. I think the story is the expression on this little girl's face, and the fact that she's not, you know, you can still make her out, and that she's got.
Yeah, I don't mean to have her in focus, but you know how, because again, it's like, what is it, 32, so they're really close up, and that means that if they're focusing on the girl, the closest thing to the camera will fall out of focus quite significantly.
They're very close. Yeah, they're very close to the.
So if they were like at 8, it wouldn't have been quite as. It would still be blurry anyway, but maybe just a little bit less, and it would be just a little bit better.
I feel like it's slightly, because in this, I feel like it's slightly tilted. Yeah.
And also love the detail on the girls' leggings.
Yeah, the little
whiskers. Yeah.
Lovely. I love her feet.
It's like so childlike. They kind of do that.
And it's the look of admiration. It really, so clear and very quiet. But again, this is a quiet moment where you're going to have time to perfect what you're taking. So make those little changes.
But also, like, if you look at the line, so she's looking at the mum, and mum is looking straight at the window, and it kind of creates those nice kind of invisible lines going across the frame, which is also very nice.
It's really, really lovely. Gorgeous. Let's go up here.
Yep.
How much time have we got left? About half an hour. Okay, so this one. So this is interesting because
Is it too big? Sorry, is it too big?
It's too big, this one. Sorry. Oh.
Well, maybe not. No, it was.
No, it's just.
Okay.
Yeah. I hate it when it does. Yeah, it's slightly pixely. He really dominates the frame because he's got such a great body position. You can really see all his fingers. There's loads of tension in his body, and you can see where he's looking. And it's only because he's dominating the frame, you miss the fact that you've got the shadow of him and you can see the person that he's reaching to here. So there's like a story going on down here, which is quite sweet. But because he's so dominant and captured really literally the whole of him, you miss the fact that there's something interesting going on down here. So I feel like that it would have been, I really like that the photographer has seen this. I'm assuming they've incorporated the shadows because they've seen what's going on here. And they've chosen to show the hands through the shadow rather than the actual hands. But he's, I'm getting too much of a focus on him. So I'm losing the fact that there's this going on down here. I feel like there was a different position that it should have been taken in a different position.
I'm just trying. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Is that even possible? Because I feel like maybe the sun is not quite in the right spot to create very defined shadows.
Yeah, so there is that problem that his hand is great here, but not here.
There. So it's that the wrong position. You can't always. It's not always possible to get great shadows.
So they've seen that something's going on here, and I actually think that's the story. The fact that he's reaching out. So maybe you forget about the shadows and you move on to the hands that are reaching out to each other, and you don't have the whole body. You have the two hands. Or you have
the whole body and you angle.
And you have the other hand coming in so you can
just
see.
Just the hand of the other person, yes. That would work, I think.
That would work.
And also maybe angling, well, because there's a bit of distraction in the background with the play structure and people. So, but the background of the floor of the playground is really nice and kind of like shot down slightly, yeah.
And that would have then accentuate, I think, the fact that he's leaning back and horizontal, and the person that he's reaching to is standing up. So you could have taken that view, which would be quite nice.
Because it's one of those things that goes, you push and you go this way. So it must be someone standing there, or pushing them or something.
But in just this as well, I feel like the hand is too close edge as well, and it's really distracting me that the two little girls got their heads cut off.
Yeah.
And this little bit of red on the edge. I think it would have
quite bright.
Yeah, it would have been better if you got a little bit more space around what's going on, because again, the shadow's very close to the edge. So just in this picture as it is, there's some uncomfortable edges, but I think it's not quite. I feel like the photographer has seen that there's something going on with, because they're reaching out to catch something, and they've decided to focus on the shadows, but the shadows aren't quite working. You're not seeing them because you've got the whole body. I think it's just, mix up how this is composed. What is it that you want to see? You could have got from above and half his body. I think that you might have still been able to see that it's play equipment.
Yeah, but I mean, I want to say the light is really lovely though, on his face and on his hand. The light is really nice.
And that's another reason why you look at him.
Yeah. Because it's so perfect on his face.
It's the brightest part of the picture, apart from the corner up here. So you do look at that and you miss this here.
Also, his expression is beautiful.
Idea, but not quite the right part of the scene. That's kind of quite the right angle or quite the right part of it. Yeah, you need to find a different way of telling the story.
Yeah. Another thing I really like here, and that's maybe why to include the whole body or something. I like that his shoelaces are untied.
Yeah,
and and his his whole like outfit kind of tells us a little bit about who he is as a person.
Yeah. And his cap being on backwards.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
So I feel like maybe it's possibly the right decision. Also, I assume maybe it's a client session or your family, so maybe there's other opportunities to tell that story. But as he is in this picture, I really appreciate seeing these little elements and knowing more about him. So maybe including the whole body and the other person's hand and just sort of shooting down slightly couldn't work potentially. Okay.
Okay, we haven't got that much time left, have we? So
well, let's try. Let's keep going.
Goes on to something. We're gonna go this. Are we just gonna move along?
Yeah, let's try it.
Because these are two, I'm assuming, little sisters who are really, really cute, and there's a bit of a tussle going on.
Yeah, so they're pushing each other from whatever they're climbing on.
The problem is there's not enough context. We can't see what they're doing.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, it looks like they're tussling over something. I don't know whether one's trying to push the other out, or they're both trying to get in somewhere. They're fighting for space. But I can't. I mean, there's like, I don't know whether it's a drawer.
That's the problem. So I think as a photographer, I need to step away and include more of the environment to let us know what's going on.
Because then we'd see what they're doing.
So they're climbing fairly high, I think. I assume.
Yeah, they're obviously doing something like they shouldn't do, or something a bit, you know, that an adult
dangerous.
Do, a bit dangerous. But you can't really tell, because this could be the floor or a stair or something. But I suspect it might be a chest of drawers. I don't know. And you can't see any of that, and it's a real shame, because I think it could be quite sweet. So yeah, definitely step back and try and incorporate more of the scene as much as you can. You might be in a small room, but you've got way too much dead space on this side. If you get my drawing thing, if you do your rule of thirds here, you've got a whole third of this image that's completely
not doing anything.
So even if you haven't got space to stand back to incorporate more, you've definitely got more space that you can use to get more on this side of the frame. Or maybe, I don't know, you
shoot vertical. If you don't have enough space to step back, shoot vertical.
And then you're going to incorporate more from the bottom. And I think also you've got a bit, like, this is really, really bright here. So I think
you could adjust the settings to kind of go, shutter speed could go higher easily to kind of like.
And then I think, you know, once you found your spot, you wait, because they're tussling here, but it's not super clear what they're doing. I love her bottom, by the way, which is really cute. But wait and take several photos, shoot through it. And
yeah, unless they are your children and they're about to fall down. And then it becomes a problem. Then you just grab a shot and then you go to the rescue.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, you're right. There's not enough. They're trying to get something out of somewhere, but it's just not clear. So you probably, as a photographer, know, and that sometimes we're way too close to our pictures because we know what's going on.
Yes.
And we can't objectively look at them and say, actually, is it actually clear what's happening? Is there a story?
If you ever have to explain to somebody why you've taken something or why it was funny, means
it doesn't work.
Shown it in the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. Okay.
The next one I find actually funny, and I don't know if you see what I see. I find it really funny that the dad is holding the baby, and this is an electrical thing that to kill like bugs and things.
I thought it was a tennis racket at first, but it's not. It's a bug catcher, isn't it?
It's a bug catcher, yeah. So it's electrical. So that is what's funny to me.
Yeah.
And clearly the mum is going like, give me that thing right now. Don't hold it close to the baby.
So the moment is quite interesting.
Yeah. But
there's a few, like, it's overexposed, it's too bright. Yeah. And there's the blacks are too black. So I think the contrast is a bit strong. Because you can't, he's wearing a black t-shirt and it's completely flat. So I think the highs need to come down and the darks need to be a bit looser.
Especially, I think the girl, I'm not so much the t-shirt, but the girl is so bright and overblown.
Bright and everything as well. And then you've got some annoying bits sticking up here, these edges that we always talk about.
Yeah.
And I can't, the baby's a second look. I think if you perhaps, I don't know, could you have angled down a little bit more?
I don't know, I did see the bit because the baby is against the black t-shirt. So I could have sort of saw it pretty much straight away. But maybe if the whole exposure was down, it would have been
slightly angled down, and it would take these distracting bits from up there out.
Yeah.
Don't need a huge, and you would then have got a little bit of the face, because at the moment there's no profile on the baby. So it's a bit of blob.
But also, because it's so bright, you have an opportunity again to up your aperture. I think when we start
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of that. When we start photographing, we get so obsessed with shallow depth of field because it creates pretty pictures with blurry backgrounds and all that. But then as we grow as photographers, we need to set that aside and only use it when we actually need to use it and not as a default. And some photographers, I've used it as a default for such a long time myself, so I completely get it.
But it's solving a problem in a lazy way. When by making a shallow depth of field, you're losing detail and story and details and elements that are important. If you compose differently and make sure you're incorporating details that matter, and you're giving your characters, your subjects, space so that you can see them well, then you don't need to rely on shallow depth of field to do that for you, and you suddenly elevate your pictures to something that's got a lot more story and layered meaning in the frame.
Yeah, and here again, because there's such a strong light, you actually could up your aperture, so you don't need to let quite as much light into the camera, and that will again give you more layers. Because I quite like that profile of that girl with a little bun thing, and she adds to the picture because she's not involved in the story, but clearly she's part of the family. So that was quite funny.
But you're not close enough to her that she's like a foreground element, and because
she needs to be an active participant.
Field, because she's not that far away from the dad's knee. If she was very close to the camera, she'd suddenly become a foreground, more like
with the makeup.
But here she's small in the frame, and she's completely out of focus. And I think as well, if you've got loads of flexibility, because your ISO could go up and your shutter speed could go down. There's so much flexibility to put your aperture higher. And I like the fact that she's staring out at nothing and is doing something, feels, but I can't really see because she's so out of focus. Is she looking at this, or is she looking out of the window at something outside? I can't tell. But also, if you can see that this little bit of her nose is going over.
Yeah.
And that's so frustrating. It's like little tiny changes to get that person in the right space, because you've got all of this sofa, and yet she's so uncomfortably close to the muzzy.
Yeah, and also if you'd moved to the left, you would have covered the box with her body as well. Yeah. Because
she's so out of focus, it's really weird that you've got this very sharp box sticking out of her.
It's on the same focus plane as the dad.
You could have slightly moved to the
left
and shot maybe on more of an angle, make it a little bit more dynamic rather than flat to the wall. There's definitely ways that this can be really tightened up, this image.
Let's go next. Okay, what's your favorite? Maybe I don't know. Shall we go in order and just get through all of them?
This one's quite an interesting one.
Okay, you like that one.
The composition's really strong here.
So it's nice very central composition with everything equally balanced and weighted on both sides, with
lovely
just off-center elements slightly, non-symmetrical.
Makes it not symmetrical, so not quite perfect, which is great. And then obviously he's right underneath the cross, which is interesting. But I'm not really quite sure what he's wearing and what he's doing. Is it
I think it's a dress-up costume.
I feel like I'd like to see more of that. Like, I know he's got the floppy kid thing, which is always quite funny. But he's not quite flopping. I like that he's got his sock as well. The colours.
You know what? I actually like it. I don't mind. I mean, it would be funny if he was standing, because it's like one of those costumes where it looks like he's riding the dragon, I think.
Oh, okay. Like a
knight.
Yeah.
So it would have been even funnier potentially if he was like riding the dragon past the cross.
If it had looked like he was tussling the dragon, but it doesn't. It just looks like it's a kid thing and his little foot sticking up. The foot is really sweet.
But I still like it, even though
I don't really like it because the composition is really strong.
Yeah, but maybe you're right. Maybe either he needs to be completely floppy, like completely like, I am so done with this.
The way he's lying, you can see more of the costume, or or you don't see him at all and you just see the dragon.
The dragon.
You know, that would be funny.
That would be really funny.
Funnier, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's a really beautiful composition.
Yeah, it's really well observed. Really well observed.
Right, you know, you've got this bang on center, and it's just made nicer by this off-center decoration here.
Yeah.
And he's perfectly placed underneath the cross. I mean, again, it would have been, I mean, obviously you can't choose what he's wearing, but if there was something that was relevant to the cross, I don't know. But
I do think it's funny, like this cross and there's a dragon, it's like religion and fiction, and you can read lots of things into it if you want to. Or slaying the dragon, or slaying the devil, I don't know.
And it looks like this child art on the wall.
I love those, by the way.
Yeah, they're lovely. It's really lovely. Yeah, and I mean it's a visually strong, colourful graphic image. It's a really nice composition. You kind of, you know, when the composition is really strong like that as well, you can slightly forgive the fact that the moment isn't quite there.
Yeah.
Any other ones that you want to particularly talk about?
Well, let's go one with the cereal and the next, yeah, this one. So I actually quite like the idea of this picture.
Yeah.
I like, again, we talked about sort of not relying on language to create a message, but I think this one adds here, what a perfect day. And then the other child in the picture is clearly not particularly happy.
It works because of the body language of
the
child, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the soup, that's like chicken soup or something, noodle soup.
And is it chicken soup because they're not feeling well, so they're having chicken soup, or is it that they don't want the chicken soup and it's their worst meal? I don't know.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the storytelling in this.
Yeah, and it looks like a sister. I don't think it's.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
The mum, so it looks like a sibling.
Yeah, it looks like another child. Yeah.
And it's. I don't think it's in England. Maybe, not that it matters. There's something. I think the fact that we keep this a bit of light on the left-hand side that keeps my eye keeps going there.
I wonder whether you could just tone it down, because I don't want to take anything away from her. Hand is there, but maybe just tone it down.
Yeah, or
could I appreciate the slightly
wonky again
feel of it. It feels really organic, and you know.
I don't think the angle is wonky. I think that headboard, there's a bed or something that's wonky.
It feels, you know, you're slightly coming in at an angle across the table. You've got, you know, a bit of the door. It feels like a really natural scene, but I think just brush over the. Oh, woo! What's happened there?
No, we don't.
Brush over this and bring the highs down on that area there, because it is really bright just on that edge. I mean, you can bring it in a bit, but I don't want to lose that hand.
No.
Because if you bring it in too much,
it's too close. Yeah.
And I think you need her hand, so you could trim it a little bit. I don't know whether that would make it even more distracting because it's so small. So maybe
actually we'll have an opposite effect. So I think you're right, just having that in Lightroom, that gradient thing.
Brush that area, either a gradient tool or a brush, and bring the exposure or the highs down there. Because actually the rest of it's toned quite nicely. You know, the colours are nice, and
and I like the anonymity of it. That it doesn't matter what they look like; it's the story, and we can all relate to that story a little bit.
I think, you know, what we were saying right at the start with that very first picture, how hands are quite emotive, and this hand here feels like it backs that story up, doesn't it? Of being happy.
I feel like visiting grandma or something. But situation here.
It's a really nice picture. I like it.
Yeah.
This is quite interesting.
Okay. So that's I think a great. The photographer has noticed like the interesting, or is it their house? I don't know. It's quite interesting interior, quite full of character. I think the chairs and the table and the wallpaper, and it almost feels kind of grand in a way with the lampshade, and the children are running around naked. and I think it's a nice juxtaposition.
Yeah, I like that. And
Yeah.
obviously, the photographer's caught this moment of them trying, like, you know, a little child looks like they're trying to push the table. I don't know whether they are, but that's how it comes across.
Yeah.
So there's quite a lot of nice.
And the two red balls somehow balancing.
It really needs. It's so overexposed though, because these lights are completely burnt out, and this one here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and it's a really bright image, but actually if it's inside with the lights on it, if you're looking out this window, it looks like it's dark outside, it's nighttime. It could be a darker, moodier scene, and you know,
because the child is right under those lights, the light would be on their face anyway.
No information left at all in these. They're just 4 white spots, which is so distracting.
You keep looking at it, you just keep looking, your eye just keeps going there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure
the door probably doesn't.
Whether you need the door in here either. Is that doing anything? Could
not
you
particularly
just taken it?
And also I think maybe
it's there, the picture, so you've got the 2 red balls, and you don't need the lights in it at all.
But also I think the other child is not really visible,
doing anything. So you either need them doing something, like it would have been quite interesting if they were pulling the fridge door open or something,
or even just standing there in the middle there.
Yeah, it would have just been the reverse action to what this one was doing. Yeah, either not there. I don't know. It'd be quite nice to have. We're kicking the red ball, something.
Even just a bit closer to the door frame, I think, would have helped, because they're kind of lost there behind the counter.
Yeah, they're hidden behind this bit of table, aren't they?
Yeah. And sometimes, like, if you either need to wait. I don't know how long the action with the first child was taking. Like, did he do it for long or not? Or if it's, you know, the other child is not coming, then there's no point in including that doorway, and then focus on the child that's doing something.
Yeah.
Essentially, but it is funny that they're both naked. Like, I can't take away from that.
It's really sweet.
Yeah.
But I think the main problem with this is the exposure, because of it's completely burnt out the lights. But I think there's some compositional elements that need changing here as well. Like, I don't think you need the door, this part of the door.
You can try and, like, I would say maybe measure exposure highlights instead in this kind of situation, because as we said, he's directly under the lamp, so it would be interesting actually to play on the darkness and the light highlighting.
Automatically going to have enough light on him because he's under the light.
Yeah.
Okay,
next one.
Have we got time for any more?
We have a few minutes left. I don't know, do you want to finish them all? Finish them all.
It's quite nice. It's always, this is the only one that's in a horizontal. No,
vertical, you mean? Yeah.
So I quite like this because I think vertical makes sense in a hallway, because it's usually quite a narrow space, so it feels busy in a small space, and I quite like that feeling that it gives me.
Because if you shoot it horizontally, then you include walls, and walls don't necessarily give any information, don't add anything.
It would have benefited from a little bit coming back a bit more if there was space behind to get a little bit more of the dad, because there's just a teeny bit of him, you know, and his toes. So I think it would have been nice. I think
this is a crop. I feel like it's a crop camera. It's 700D. I think it's a crop.
But if it's a hall, I'm guessing it's a hall, that there might be space behind them. You could go.
Yeah, maybe. Anna is saying yes, love a hallway shot.
Yeah, but what I would say again, for me, the exposure is a problem again here, because now if you're shooting an indoor scene and the outside is brighter, then the information that's outside isn't as important as inside. But
it's fine to blow it out. Yeah.
It's blown out so much that any of the body parts that are in the window are losing their shape. So it needs to be a bit darker, and there's plenty. It's light, you know. That it could have been shot darker, and you wouldn't have lost the detail in this finger, which is quite dominant. This finger in the picture, I notice it because it's probably the most active bit.
It's quite funny too that they're pointing.
and this one's looking at it. So I think a little bit more space, so you get a bit more of the dad. The exposure could come down so that you don't lose the, you know, the definition of the edges of things that are in the window. But I think the other thing that there's, so again, there's the space of stepping back. You've got some edges that are a bit distracting on this side. I think, you know, these little bits of yellow and this bit of
shell
showing. It's not enough, but there's too much. You either want a little bit more or less.
Yeah.
But then the other thing is weight. This hand has gone over the face of that child. So
yeah, I really like the idea of the picture though, but
I really like the idea
because there's like all the children and the mum is like trying to get them ready or undressed or
coats on the floor. But I feel like I want a little bit more of the surroundings to show all of the coats and the shoes and things, a bit more of dad, and just get the composition and weight, because I think it's a good choice to do it vertically. But you know, just a minute later, this hand might have moved, and then you'd see that child reaching up, which is lovely actually, that the child is reaching up there.
Yeah.
But the hand is in the way.
I would also say
if aspiration on the mum, she looks awesome, which is quite nice.
Another trick, I guess, if you're trying to avoid, because the window is quite bright, or the door or whatever, just shoot slightly down to kind of let slightly less light into the camera, if that's a problem, if your camera is struggling a little bit.
And if you're finding it difficult to shoot with that sort of bright background, then change your angle, come in from a different angle. See if you could, maybe you could have stood over this side and looked at them that way.
Yeah.
And try a different angle to avoid that really bright overexposed effect.
Yeah.
Let's look at this one.
Let's just do them all.
Yeah.
Okay. So I love the title of it, Domestic Bliss.
Yeah.
Right. So I actually quite like the fact that the mom or grandma is shown here with the foils. So she's coloring her hair.
And
I'm not sure whether the composition and the position of the photographer is quite right, because all the interesting stuff is happening behind.
Interesting stuff here, isn't it? And you can't.
There's a child in front of her.
Yeah, you can see a foot, but nothing else. You can see lots of toys, and there's a box that the toys have come out of.
Yeah.
And it's not her profile, but it's not the back of her head either. I think either you take a really anonymous shot of
but if it's the foils that are interesting, then you need to get really close and focus on that head in that space or something.
I don't know, because I feel like the focus is the fact that just from the title, domestic, because it feels like it's about foils and being in the house. I mean, maybe it's a lockdown photo. This big bit of black here coming into the frame is really distracting. It's eating into this main subject.
Yeah.
So you need to find some way of taking the photograph so that you've got a better visual on the thing that's interesting you. And I think I can see why they've taken it from the back view, because that's where you see more of the foils.
I think the window is on the right, so I would have been tempted to sit in front of the window and focus on that side, because then the light would have been on her face.
And it's overexposed because you burnt out on the foils, and
would see the child. Robin was here earlier, so I don't know if they want to chime in and what was possible, what was not.
I feel like the composition is lacking here. I love the fact that they've observed there's someone having foils, and that contradiction of it being in the house, and they're playing, but the composition is not working. I don't know whether you need to go from the front view, from the side view. This big block here
is occupying like a lot of
the frame.
Yeah, like a lot of real estate.
And actually, this here isn't really adding to the story. I mean, okay, saying it's a home scene. So either you take I think you focus on the fact that somebody's having their foils done, and it's like the back view, really neutral. You can tell they're in a house.
Just graphic, yeah.
and make it graphic, because it is quite graphic.
But I think in this situation,
You have-
the funny thing is that the child is playing with the
yeah,
blocks
I
and
feel like it's that they're playing while
sort of multitasking. Yeah, that's what mums or grandmas do. Like you doing this while you're playing with the child. Like,
but that's not.
Yeah,
it's not really doing that though, is it?
No, not right now. So that's what I thought. Like I would have, unless there's something super distracting on the left-hand side in the background.
Yeah,
I would have been tempted to sit by the window or shoot into the light and see like if you can get a profile.
If you'd have done the same thing as the shot before, where you're shooting with the window behind, it's more effective if you can make a silhouette and
okay, Robin is saying, yeah, I'm listening intently. If I had moved from behind her, the moment would have been lost. My wife would have run a mile if she was aware of me. Okay.
Well, then I would have focused more on the story of the hair then and tried to set it in a scene of the home. But yeah,
it's a tricky one.
It's difficult.
If they're running away from you. Okay, so in this situation, if you know she's going to run away from you, I would like be tempted, get that shot, get your settings just right, move, like hide the camera, move in the better position, and like shoot it doesn't, like just get that one shot before she runs away.
Doing sort of street photography, so
yeah.
So she doesn't even know you're taking the photo.
Yeah, and get the settings right so you don't have to fiddle with that. Like guesstimate what you need to be, where you need to be with your settings, and just shoot. Or yeah, I mean, that's tricky. My mom is a bit like that.
Yeah.
She's like, why are you photographing me? I'm in my, pajamas. Like, that's the fun thing. That's why I want to photograph.
But like, just as a photograph for yourself, if it's your wife and it's she's having her hair done at home and it's funny, maybe it's locked down, then it's a great memory to have. But compositionally, there's lots of things that need to improve in this picture. Because I feel like it is, and sometimes it's like that. It's like you said, you haven't got a moment because she would notice you and then she wouldn't let you take a picture of her. So
she's not a photographer, but she's streetwise. Yes. Okay, let's go to the next one. But also, like, it's easy to say when it's not your family, but like sometimes you can train them if you just keep taking the picture and like whatever, and promise not to share. That could help. Because I know, like with your eldest, then that's kind of the agreement that you have. You don't really share much of his pictures, but he lets you take them then, right?
Well, even that's rare, but yeah.
But still. Okay. Right. So what I love about this one is the expression and the joy on the child's face, right? And clearly it's a ball pit of some sort,
isn't it? Complete freedom and go back. Yeah, you know how kids just lie around.
Yeah. That's obviously such a fun thing to have a ball pit in your bedroom. What I think is missing here is that it's neither here nor there. It's not close enough,
I agree.
But it's not far enough to give us context.
It's not giving me any sense of the room, and I'm not right in the moment with her. It's just frames that you've got her whole body in.
I think I know what the problem is. The problem is it's a 55mm lens indoors.
Oh,
yeah. So we actually had people on our course that had to buy wide-angle lenses after like the first couple of critiques, because you can't shoot indoors unless you live in a mansion. You have to have a wide 35 for 24, 28. You need to have
inside. It's just, I mean, feels like it must be quite a big room because you've actually managed to get the whole body in. 50 indoors, especially on 55 is even worse.
And also notice how a lot of the images that we've seen today were shot on a wide angle lens, and how you feel you're right there.
Right?
Whereas here,
you fill the body in the frame with a wide angle lens. I love the flexibility of a wider angle lens, 35 or 24, because you can go in really close and fill the frame with the person, or you can pull right back and get a reasonable amount of context even in a small space. And here it would definitely feel more detached, so we're more like observers rather than feeling right there with the child and sharing their joy. Which you get that distance. The longer the length, the more separated you are from what's happening, and you're just you're an observer.
So here you could have either actually, I mean, not with the 55 you couldn't do it, but I would have been tempted to photograph from above.
I would have done
with the balls around the child and this sort of happy expression, because they're definitely like they will not run away like Robert's wife. But do that
completely different view as well from the other side of the beanbag over here, with just the leg coming out of the balls. That would be quite it's a thing. This is a really literal photograph. It's a photograph of the girl lying back with her foot in the air, enjoying herself. And yes, grab those shots. We always say grab those shots.
Grab the shot while you have a chance.
Think what else can you do to make it more interesting, so you get more. If you're shooting top down, you've got all the lovely colourful balls sort of all over her, and
so it's more like a portrait then.
Or like I said, like come around the other side, and especially if you've got a wider angle lens where you've got the hopefully balls everywhere in the room and just one leg sticking out of it, and then it becomes weird. So think about how you can use what's happening to create something a bit more interesting.
Or another option here, again with the wider lens, would be actually interesting potentially. I don't know what the rest of the room looks like, but I can see like there's a crib. So to show kind of this ball pit in the context of the room, that can be quite nice, especially if it's a maybe color picture rather than black and white, to show all the colorful toys and all the paraphernalia of child bedrooms.
That's one of the things I felt about this. I feel like I'd love to see it in color because of all the colorful balls. Another, I'm just going to say edges again, because there's a couple of edges that are annoying me, like this little bit of like, it looks like skirting board or something down this side, and a few balls that are like this little corner. I think if you'd have just slightly trimmed it, it would tighten it up a bit. Let's see if I can do that. So then if you do that, you lose this slightly pale edge and that ball on that corner, and that but this shot that just cleans it up a bit.
But also like the wall, what we don't, I like the bottom of an animal on it, but it doesn't really add anything to the picture. If it was a more wide shot of the room, then it would have worked.
And things like that is like, straight away I saw this bottom.
That's the first thing you look at.
Which is really nice. And carry on shooting this. There may be a moment where she's like kind of dipping her head and you're just seeing her bottom, and that would be quite a cute photograph lined up with this. Look for those less literal things, because this feels really literal, which is lovely, and definitely include it for families that you're shooting for. Look for something different as well, less obvious.
Let's go to the next. So I really like this one. I think the space is used well here. There's lots of, clearly they would build in a pillow fort. There's toys on the ground. We can see a bit of the space they're in. So I like how the space is utilized. Going to add a bit more information about these children.
Where she's placed in this window frame here.
Yes.
Really stands out.
I like the little one, how he or she is sitting there looking at the bigger sister or cousin or whoever it is, really intently. So you feel like she's playing for him or her.
It's like a little concert, isn't it? And there's definitely a sort of relationship between them. I love that she's in her knickers as well here. In a concert in her knickers. I feel like if the person had shot through more, there'd be a better position of the hand. The hand is in a bit of an awkward position. Maybe they were dancing some more. I don't know. I feel like you could wait for something else to happen here.
Yeah, that's what's bothering me. She either needs to kind of go ta-da, something like that. It's like just that, it's kind of like going up. So just shoot through it and find the best.
It's a really nice angle that it's a nice composition where you can see both their faces and you can see what they've been playing with, and
it's really nicely exposed as well, despite the backlight. I mean, I love those windows. Can I just say?
They're lovely.
But yeah, just wait. If they're doing this thing, they're likely going to continue. So just sit and wait for something to happen and be patient and commit to this. Is a great, you found a great composition. I think composition works. So wait for the moment to be better, and don't try and rush and capture it from all the different angles.
Yeah, it's really sweet.
Snow. Okay, so this one I really liked the feeling of the picture, right? That this sort of riding on the snow and the expression of the child.
It's a great action sort of capture. It's a fast shutter speed, so you've got the snow spray and the feet. They look like they're about to fall out of the sledge, and he's looking really delighted and enjoying himself.
Yeah.
But when you're on these, this is a really extremely long lens. Even we were talking about the 55 and how you feel really separated from the action. Like this, you're really standing a long way away with a 130. So it kind of,
which is great for some things because it isolates the child against the background, so it creates this sort of lovely portrait. But I think it lacks a bit more context.
It's a lovely moment, that's caught the action. But when you're using this sort of lens, all the shots are quite samey.
Yeah.
Because they're all blurry and with the sort of sharp focus of the action and the person. So I think it'd be interesting to use a wide. I mean, you wouldn't have to get that much wider because it's so down to like a 50 or something, or 35. And then you can start using other elements of the landscape to add to the composition rather than
just show where they are, because I want to know where they are, because it looks like they're going. Which way are they going? Because the slope is that way. Actually, by the way, I want to say that I really love how the snow is like, because it's frozen, all the little snow dots in the air. I really like.
Yeah, no, the snow spray is gorgeous. Yeah. The moment, that sort of in terms of an action shot, it's lovely.
Yeah. So I think they must be going backwards downhill.
Yeah,
that's
maybe.
What I think. So I want to see more of that. What happened? Why is the child going this way? Like, where are they? Is it like a hill somewhere in the park, or is it like among some buildings? Like, are there other people in there?
Use elements of the surroundings to add to the picture and the composition and the story. Is there's other people with red sledges? Because a snowy landscape is lovely and neutral. So you pick out colour and stuff. Because here it becomes an action capture, but there's no story there, and that's what happens with these long lenses.
Yeah, and again, like if you have several lenses, you could have that picture that you're working with family. Maybe it's like a long way away or something. Sometimes it can be dangerous to kind of be on those slopes, but you could try. Yeah. It doesn't look like it's very busy. So you could take this shot potentially and have that like a nice action, and then try and experiment and go closer and create a wider frame with more context, because it's really interesting to see. And we're talking about earlier, weren't we? Like how I think we used to try and exclude everyone from the frame, but actually it's so interesting to see other people even if they're not your own family. Yeah, and I give that sort of context.
I spend hours trying to isolate like my child from everyone else, just so I had a picture of my child, I'd wait. I wouldn't take a picture because there's so many other people.
Yeah.
But actually, when you start to grow as a photographer, the challenge of trying to capture picture of a person or a subject within a complicated scene is actually really, it's addictive and fun. Yeah, and the challenges makes it more interesting, and you start looking at other details and other things that are around, and you can use them to make the frame way more interesting.
But I think also it adds to kind of like, if you look at street photography from like years ago, it's so interesting to see like how people would dress, even they don't know who they are at all. Yeah. But it's so interesting to see. And I have pictures certainly where I've excluded people that I didn't want them in a frame with my child, and now I wish I had it actually included them because I want to, don't have any pictures of them. So yeah.
again,
Try that.
who you're with, who else is
Yeah.
playing.
Yeah. Who are these people?
Has
Even
he
if it doesn't matter, because it just adds.
has he
Yeah.
been pushed backwards by a brother or a father? You know.
Yeah. Right, let's go to the next. I have a couple of pictures left. So I really like this, the idea of this picture.
I love the girl.
The expression of the girl, particularly in her dress.
Really, with the earring and hair clip, all the clothes.
And then the boy is dressed like it's in a similar colorway, so they kind of matching.
The boy looks like he's in school uniform.
Yes.
But it's
so that is funny too, and they're matching.
But what I can't tell from this is why she's cross and what he's doing. And I'm trying to work out, do I want to know more about that? Or
something to do with the strawberry?
To do with the strawberry?
I think there's a potential for a great portrait here.
So I think she's fantastic because she doesn't look like, she looks like she's really, she's just cross, and there's no two ways about it. She's not playing up for a camera or anything. But he
looks like he's annoyed with it, like strawberry or something like that, or maybe, I don't know.
Has he taken the last strawberry and I think it would be funnier maybe if he was actually eating the strawberry, because he's playing up for an adult.
It does,
over the shoulder of the photographer, and that takes me out of it. If he was ignoring what was going on,
even if he had like a completely blank expression, and she was where she is, I think it would have been a really, and maybe pulling back a little bit to put a bit more of a context of where they're standing.
One thing I would say, like, you've got this what's this, what lens is this?
37.
37. But that feels like it must be a zoom, because that's not a normal.
Yeah, it probably is a zoom. But is it a crop as well? It could be a crop.
I feel like you've got this lovely window behind that if you'd have slightly repositioned yourself, you could have got their heads framed by the window. But either you step back or you make your lens slightly wider angle. And that would have, again, I don't know, I think that would have just been a nice detail.
I'm just looking at the file title. It says birthday, so maybe it's a girl's birthday or something. Or maybe it's a strawberry from a cake. I don't know. Like, I literally envision this as like them standing with neutral, like her cross and him with neutral expression in the garden. It's clearly in the garden of a house somewhere. Include more of a house. And then it's a really interesting portrait of them. Or if there was a cake, include the cake or whatever they would. There must be something with the strawberries or whatever. Maybe include that.
You've got this wonderful expression on the girl, so keep shooting and wait until there's something more neutral on his face, because he's kind of performing and it just doesn't go with her expression. I mean, they both look cute, but it doesn't. It's more. I don't know. He takes me out of this picture.
Right, last one. So I was actually really drawn to the lines and the shadows in this, and it looks like a playground or maybe indoor playground.
Outside because of the light. I feel like it's like sundown.
Must be. But then once you see the shadows, then you see the children. But I think the children were the point of that picture.
The shadows are gorgeous, aren't they?
Yeah.
Which is one of those things, like we were talking about playgrounds before. They have wonderful graphical elements that you can use, and also they create great shadows. But
it's outdoor playground in the morning.
In the morning, okay. Up, not sundown. But I can't tell in this picture what these children are doing at all. Can you?
They're either fighting or they're climbing down. I feel like it's just, if it's about children, it's the wrong position to photograph.
Yeah, if it's about them fighting, I want to be more in the fighting rather than creating some pretty use of the shapes and the light.
They also merging into each other. So if they were separately climbing on the things, then maybe it would have worked with the shadows and them climbing like separate figures.
But as well, where they are, you've got one that's in the shadow and is a silhouette, and the other one's in the daylight. So again,
they're just one blob, and it's just not quite working. I think I understand where the idea for it. Cuddling just met. That's it. Well, see, we thought they were fighting, so it's not really clear. So I think you need to be either down there shooting like with them, and really zoning in on the cuddle and forgetting the shadows.
If the important thing is that they're cuddling and they first met, then you need to be in on that cuddle. If you're going to use these like strong shapes and shadows, I think you just wait for them to be playing and exactly. Running around and getting the shadows of the bodies as well, because it's not just the playground equipment that has fabulous shadows at this time of day. It's also when it's sunny, and it's also the people. So get them into clean spaces and or focus or follow the floor and watch their shadows and actually get them out of the picture.
Because if you identify this is the best place for you to stand, because obviously you want to avoid your own shadow in the situation, you just wait. If they're busy playing, they don't need you, you just wait and see what happens. And sometimes it just doesn't come together as well.
I feel like in this situation, you've identified that the shapes and the shadows are the interesting thing, but you need to wait for something to happen in there. Wait.
Or maybe like I would almost imagine like if the child was, where the railing shadows are on the front of the picture, if they were walking up or like crawling up that part, it would look almost like they're climbing a ladder or something. Essentially, that would be funny or interesting. If you have an opportunity to go there again early in the morning.
and I'm imagining, if they've just met and they're playing, there's going to be like plenty of time to capture this. So just wait for something to come into get your beautiful composition using all these lovely shadows and shapes, and wait for them to be running and doing things in clean space.
And kind of trust yourself a little bit, like, oh, I want this to work, so I'm going to wait. I'm not going to be panicky, or I'm going to give it good chunk of time and see what happens.
I mean, visually, there's lots of lovely, interesting shapes, and there's definitely something can come of this, but the moment isn't there.
Right, that's it. We couldn't have possibly gone through. There were obviously more pictures submitted, but we just there's no time to go through all of them.
Try to get at least one of that everyone submitted.
We tried to, because some didn't have people's names on, so we didn't know, but hopefully this was useful, guys.
It's useful to listen to other people's images being critiqued as well, which is something it's really important, that listening through other people, because you're less emotionally attached to other people's images. And that thing we were talking about, how when you know what's happened in an image,
you can be very kind of defensive. I know why I do that, like, what, I could have done that,
but like and why you thought it was funny and why you took it and everything. And actually, when you're looking at someone else's image, you understand more, like, okay, I've got absolutely no idea why that's been taken and what's happening, and you can be much more rational about it. So it's and learn, and also other people take pictures that
you wouldn't have thought,
that wouldn't have done, and so it's again really interesting to see that and to hear what people say about it. So
so if you're watching on replay, let us know in the comments if you have any thoughts. If we critique your images and we're on here, just let us know. And this will be uploaded to our Zoom casts. People are saying it's really good. Really appreciate all the feedback. Really worthwhile critique. Glad you guys enjoyed it. So just a reminder that Turning Caves into Art, which is our creative mentoring program, is going to open up for enrollment early next week. It will go out to the waiting list first. So if you are interested, do go to our website, to education, to the course, and put your email down for the waiting list. And we'll share more information in due course.
Yeah.
Basically.
If you haven't heard enough of me and Antonina jabbering on,
you want another
on Instagram tomorrow, just jabbering, not even doing jabbering. We're really good at that. So
and bring your questions. We actually haven't told anyone we're going to do that. Really bad. There's just been a lot of happening. But if you have any questions about photography in general or anything like that, come to Instagram tomorrow evening. We'll put some details up.
Yeah, what time are we doing that?
8, I think we said 8.
8 o'clock in the evening,
Yeah.
British time.
Yeah.
Are we GMT?
We're still GMT.
GMT at the moment, yeah. So 8 p.m. GMT if you want to come and see us there as well, if you haven't had enough of us yet.
Right, have a good night, everyone, and see you later.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.